And then we find out that's only about 3% of the entire damn thing. So the evidence itself becomes a political weapon in and of itself. And then to get to your point, John, but isn't it a strategy to lull them in, to have them start fighting for the release of what could hurt them? Again, there is no aisle. I think this cuts both ways. I think it's going to hurt a lot of people. During the campaign, it was, we're going to release these files, we're going to get that out there, we're going to do this, only to be disheartened when we get into the new place. Yes, we're going to invite all these alternative journalists out here, and we're going to really lay out what we got. And all these very popular influencers show up to the White House, and they get a binder of crap we already knew existed, which really is just gaslighting, honestly. And then we're told there really are no files. And then we're told it's a hoax. And then we're told by Kash, Patel, and Dan Bongino, no less, that, well, Epstein really did kill himself, even though pre-campaign they had argued something quite differently. And diGenova said, as a medical examiner, that's impossible. He didn't kill himself. So that's the table set. And it gets back to what I was talking about earlier, John, which is credibility matters. So going into this, the Americans of all shapes and sizes, red, blue, whatever your identification is, were eyebrows raised. What is going on here? Now we get a release. We get a release, which is a very interesting thing, when Tulsi Gabbard, probably my favorite patriot in the United States right now, goes down and starts rounding up ballot boxes in Atlanta, Georgia, and then all of a sudden a lot of information starts flowing. And then now the Congress is going to get some information, and oh, look at all the black boxes on all the pages, even though there's still some damning things in that release. And then we find out that's only about 3% of the entire damn thing. So the evidence itself becomes a political weapon in and of itself. And then to get to your point, John, but isn't it a strategy to lull them in, to have them start fighting for the release of what could hurt them? Again, there is no aisle. I think this cuts both ways. I think it's going to hurt a lot of people. And that got confirmed. My idea here gets confirmed by AG Bondi herself when she said, if we took all this on, the system itself would collapse. Well, this might come as a great shock to not to the president, but to his people. That's exactly what we voted for. If it needs to be burned down, then burn it down. If you think kids are not worth it, if you think the sick treatment of children and women that we can see so far is not worth it alone, well, then you don't know the American people and the American people's values. You don't understand their relationship with the Creator. You don't understand one nation under God. So if it were me, and if it were me to advise the president, rip the Band-Aid off. No, everybody understands that if the president were truly implicated in anything Epsteinish, then they would have gone after that and they would have sunk his ship long ago. But we do see people on the president's team who now have problems that they're eventually going to have to answer for. And by God, they should answer for them. I could care less who's on the president team. I have no loyalty to one of them. Loyalty is to the Constitution. Loyalty is to God. Everybody else gets due diligence. And what I think should happen now is just release it all. Take off all the black boxes. And if the system collapses, well, then we'll just be that much faster to self-governance and us taking back our republic. If there's 535 open seats in the Congress and the Senate for us to reclaim, I am quite confident that in a country of 340 million people, we can go ahead and find 535 people to sit in those seats and do the best thing for this nation. We don't need Washington, D.C. as a life support system for America. The swamp gives themselves way too much credit. The swamp thinks that they're necessary to the running of this country. In fact, they're an impediment. And I applaud the president for his strategy and that he is fighting alligators on all sides. I do. I absolutely pray for the man every day. But I wish that he would take a very critical eye now as we go into this very critical phase about the people who are in his circle, on his team, in his party, that have other equities, other agendas, and other histories that now need examination, because let's say the bad guys win. Let's say the Republicans hand over power to the Democrats. Let's say the president's impeached a year from now. Is anybody confident that we're going to be on a track to resolving anything in America? I think President Trump is our chance. He is.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that a loyal American who's loyal to the Constitution doesn't have a critical eye towards this Epstein crap, because it already undermines credibility where reasonable people are like, I don't believe anything anybody tells me anymore.
We are at war, and we must unite in truth. Subscribe for free at johnmichaelchambers.com for my monthly communique, which includes alerts, warnings, announcements, and access to my most valuable resource network to help you to navigate this storm. With your free subscription, you will also receive a digital copy of one of my books, Trump and the Resurrection of America, an Amazon 5-star rated book and 6-star rated by the late Robert David Steele. Won't you join me as we take our country back and redirect humanity on this much-needed course correction? Remain informed, empowered, and connected, and subscribe today at johnmichaelchambers.com.